Auburndale, Illinois, SIU Arena, as Aetna proudly presents the Missouri Valley Conference Men's Basketball Game of the Week. It's the Valley on ESPN3, a heavyweight matchup as the Salukis of Southern Illinois get set to take on their in-state rivals, the Redbirds of Illinois State. Hello, everyone. Along with David Hughes, Scott Warman, great to have you alongside. What a matchup. Two in-state rivals going mano-a-mano. And Danon, these two teams, two of the three top teams in the standings in the Valley.
Yeah, and they've done an excellent job, Scotty. When you consider the path that these teams have taken, 4-0 start for Illinois State. They're looking to come into a hostile environment, establish the tempo, use their core four guys to go up against a very dangerous Saluki team, a blue-collar team that likes to grind on the court.
All right, the big story in this one coming into this matchup is for the Salukis. Armand Fletcher, he's missed the last 3 games because of a foot injury. He's actually in the starting lineup for Barry Hinson's squad.
Well, it's a great addition to the starting lineup. I'm sure Coach Hinson really loves that his most athletic young man is back on the court. Now, they have not missed a step because they've won the last 3, but the 13.8 points per game can be needed against the dangerous Redbirds team.
All right, speaking of the starting lineups, let's take a look at tonight's starting lineups. A presentation of Casey's General Store. Right now at Casey's General Store, get a large or medium pepperoni pizza for only $10. Casey's, famous for pizza. As you mentioned, the regular starting 4 that we've seen for the last couple of years for Dan Muller's squad, as you see Paris Lee, Tony Wills, Mikal McIntosh, Deontay Hawkins, and Phil Fain, the other starter at forward. Meanwhile, for Southern Illinois, again, Armand Fletcher back in the starting lineup, along with Rodriguez, Sean O'Brien, Teak Bull, and Sean Lloyd will be a part of that starting 5.
Well, it's going to be a good matchup. You're going to see 2 teams that really like to get up and down the court. Southern Illinois, a little bit more of a half-court type of team, but Illinois State will like to keep their foot on the gas pedal from the tip, Scott.
You just saw Barry Hinson, the head coach at Southern Illinois, Dan Muller in his 5th season as well. He is 5-3 against the Salukis. We are underway. The 150th meeting between these two rivals. The Redbirds will have the opening possession.
Well, the Redbirds are used to this situation, Scotty. They have a tendency to get that opening tip, and they do not normally waste time putting the ball up at the basket. You can see they're trying to spread things out and work things down low, not settle for that open jump shot.
Nice entry by Paris Lee. Will's wide open for a triple, a little strong, and the rebound by Mikal McIntosh. Oh, nice step in and steal by Sean Lloyd.
Sean Lloyd, one of the more physical presences of the Salukis, gonna have the task of guarding Mikal throughout this game. Both guys similar body styles. Inside-outside presence as well.
Shot clock at 7, and Fletcher, welcome back to the lineup.
No matter how long you are in the game or playing this game, after you've been out for 3 games, you like to still have some butterflies, and I'm sure a lot of that anxiety and angst is gone after that first jump shot.
Fain on the pick and roll, and he travels. First turnover of the night, and it goes to Illinois State. Well, as you mentioned, Danon, as we see the travel here by Fain, Barry Hinson's squad, last 3 games still coming up with victories without their leading scorer, but not only their leading scorer. Talking to Barry yesterday on the phone, he really says that Fletcher also is more than likely his best defender as well.
Yeah, you know, a lot has been talked about the Redbirds and their defense. That's the key to their success all season. But to have your best athlete, as we see another bucket, Sean O'Brien getting involved in the mix, the guy that has really taken up a lot of the slack in scoring for the Salukis this season.
These two teams split their season series last year. In fact, the Salukis have won 6 of their last 7, including 3 in a row against ISU here at the arena. McIntosh on the spin.
And there's that physical presence in the paint. An automatic mismatch when that switch happened, although Fletcher is one of the better defenders. Just a little bit too physical there by Mikal.
Here's Rodriguez coming off a huge performance in the victory on the road in Springfield on Saturday afternoon against Paul Lusk's Bears. Lloyd, nice dish, and the reverse by Sean O'Brien.
O'Brien coming in into this game, averaging just over 12 points per game. Leads the team with almost 8.5 rebounds per game. Definitely an inside-outside presence. Doesn't want to settle for the jump shot, but will take it. And you can see how well he works down low.
Hawkins, top of the key. Nice box out by Teague Bowl. Bowl, a terrific addition to the Saluki program with Bolo Olanyan going to the SEC and out of bounds back to the Redbirds. As we mentioned, Dan Muller in his 5th season has collected 88 wins already as the head coach at Illinois State. Of course, one of the all-time great Redbird players during his career at Bloomington Normal during the late 90s, and has put together quite a squad here that'll be battling for a Missouri Valley Conference championship once again in Central Illinois.
Scotty, you talk about this squad, a lot of veteran leadership on this team. This is actually his first graduating class, being here for 5 seasons.
Barry Henson, of course, also in his 5th season here at SIU, and he is moving up the charts in Missouri Valley history as far as coaches are concerned, with wins in conference and overall coaching games. Of course, so before here at Missouri State for a long period of time. And when you think of the likes of Henry Iba and some of the other great coaches that have run and coached teams in the Missouri Valley Conference, Barry Henson right up there with some of the all-time greats, not only in the Valley, but in NCAA college history.
Absolutely. A great resume, great influence in young men, and really gotten great production from these guys on the court. Sustained some injuries, lost a big playmaker, and yet they still come out strong in the Valley Conference.
Rodriguez with 3 on the shot clock. And he did miss a 3 in the victory against Missouri State on Saturday. Misses that long 3 attempt there. And there's a steal by Mike. O'Brien kicks it out to Rodriguez, and he pushed off.
I think that was a little more about Lee being a little bit off balance than a strong push by Rodriguez. We got the benefit of the doubt there.
Early lead for the Salukis, just underway in Carbon. The Valley on ESPN3 is brought to you by Aetna. Aetna invests in game-changing programs that make being healthy simpler and more convenient than ever. Get to know us at Aetna.com. Dan and Hugh, Scott Warman with you, just underway. It's the Valley on ESPN3 as the Salukis have an early 5-point lead against their in-state rivals, the Illinois State Redbirds, at 7-2. It's the 150th matchup between these two teams. Defense, I think, is going to be really interesting. Barry Henson knows how to coach defense, and Dana, for the Illinois State Redbirds, they have one of the best defenses in all the country.
Absolutely. The Redbirds are very athletic. They're very long. Coming into this game, you have to believe you have to shoot the ball extremely well on the outside. And when you look at the keys to the game, for the Redbirds, it's about being road confident. 3 of their 4 losses have come on the road. And conversely, the Salukis have to be strong on the perimeter. We talk about the athleticism and the length that the Redbirds bring. You have to be able to shoot the ball on the outside to loosen things up.
Danon's Keys are production of the Holiday Inn Conference Center, the preferred hotel, the Missouri Valley Conference in Southern Illinois. Jeff Hartness, Winston Stith, and Brad Gaston are officials for tonight's matchup between the Birds and the Dogs from SIU Arena. Dump down, Hawkins, a little strong, couldn't get the roll. They see Southern Illinois normally at home, of course, would wear their whites, but it's a blackout game in support of cancer. We'll talk a little bit about that because it's not only men's basketball, but women's basketball and football as well. We'll get more of that discussion as the Redbirds wearing their home whites here in Carbondale. Paris Lee for 3. In and out. Hawkins gets the offensive glass and gets the stick back.
There's the presence down low. Hawkins, very athletic, will bounce out to the three-point range and shoot the ball. Has been extremely effective in these last 3 games. 17 of 32 from the field in his last three contests, I should say. And you see Aaron Cook, highly touted young man, just a freshman in for the Salukis. See another inside bucket by Sean O'Brien. Great force down low.
Yeah, no kidding. Nice move, spin move inside, and gets a nice kiss off the glass and keeps it a 5-point lead for Southern Illinois. This is DJ Clayton. Checks in for Dan Muller's squad.
There's the matchup right there. Kyle McIntosh down low against Sean O'Brien.
And Mac coming off a 31-point performance, a career high in the victory against Indiana State on Saturday.
An amazing performance, 21 in the first half, lights out all throughout the game, and was an imposing force offensively, truly, for the Redbirds.
Last week, 2 games total, Indiana State and Missouri State. He averaged 26 points a game and shot over 56% in those 2 contests.
He's so physical, leads the team in rebounds per game with 6.7, but just a physical presence. Looks more like a football player. May line up for at the tight end position, but he knows how to play this game of basketball.
Confusion on the check-in, and so Njai is actually going to come in for Deontay Hawkins, not Clayton.
McIntosh from Canada, talking to people around the program. He talks about Canadian coffee. He's kind of trying to get in the ear of other players and talk about the delicacies of Canada, trying to sway him a little bit. So very influential on the court and off.
Pressure right now by the Redbirds. Jonathan Wiley, there you see 0, who's picked up a lot of minutes in the absence of Armand Fletcher. Of course, Fletcher back in the lineup for Barry Hinson here tonight. This is Leo Vincent, one of the top bench players in the Valley last season. Now they get it inside. Wiley.
You hit the nail on the head, Scotty. Wiley has really done a nice job. He and Sean Lloyd picking up the slack for Armand Fletcher while he was out. Wiley averaging 6.7 points a game during that stretch and almost 6 rebounds as well.
Njai can't come up with it. Clayton does. Quickly gets the shot off for the Redbirds.
You got a glimpse there of how quickly Teak Bowl can get off the floor, trying to be a rim protector for the Salukis. It'll be tough to shoot over that young man.
That's the 3rd turnover for Southern Illinois. Sean O'Brien checks in for Wiley. I asked Barry Hinson yesterday during our conversation about Sean O'Brien and the transformation of this young man in his senior season, and last year is really where he elevated his game from sophomore to junior year. And he said basically, Danon, that Sean O'Brien is just a great leader both on the court and off the court. Works his tail end off.
Absolutely. He's a facilitator, not a big guy on the perimeter, but will shoot it. Pretty accurate as well, but he scores by necessity. Hasn't really had to have that lead role. You see the move down low by McIntosh. The ball goes out of bounds off the Salukis. A lot of great effort on the boards by both teams here.
Here's Fain inside. And it'll drop just at the buzzer as they almost got a shot clock violation.
Fain, a nice athletic asset to this offense as well. The lefty, long, lanky, leads the team with 20 blocks coming into this game.
Vincent, uncontested, a breakdown, unusually defensively by the Redbirds there for the easy deuce for Vincent.
Mistake by Phil Fain there, flashes out to Teak Bowl and allows the lane to get wide open for the easy bucket. Have to recognize the personnel. Teak Bowl not going to be really a force offensively except for rebounding purposes. See another turnover.
Bowl driving to the bucket, no whistle. Nice block by Illinois State. And the Saluki fans don't like the call, but stolen right back by Shaw. And the foul is called.
A sloppy sloppy play here by the Redbirds as you're seeing the Salukis take full advantage of their miscue.
11:52 left in our opening half. It's the Salukis and Redbirds. It's the Valley on ESPN3. Back at SIU Arena in Carbondale, let's take a look at our Missouri Valley Conference standings. A presentation of Perino Dog Chow, always crafted in the USA since 1926. We told you Southern, Illinois State, both teams atop the Valley standings, along with Wichita State, who's in action tonight against Loyola and had a halftime lead big on the Ramblers, who are number 4. And there you see Missouri State, Bradley, and Drake all tied at 2-2. By the way, Northern Iowa at 0-4, Danon. It's the first time since 2000, 2001 that the Panthers have started a conference season at 0-4. Uncharted territory for the folks up in Cedar Falls, and especially Ben Jacobs.
Yes, they've sustained some injuries to some key players there and just haven't really been able to get things going. But you can see how much of a cluster there is in the middle of the Missouri Valley Conference and the records. So there'll be some special basketball to be played as we wind down this season.
Salukis up 13-9. 18 of the 22 points scored in the opening 8 minutes and 8 seconds have come in the paint. 10 for Southern Illinois, 8 for Illinois State.
Which is somewhat surprising, as coming into this game, you had to believe that the length of the Redbirds would nullify a lot of that inside scoring presence. You see great effort there by Paris Lee. Almost comes away with the strip on O'Brien.
Paris Lee, second in the conference in steals. In fact, second in the country in active leaders with career steals.
He sets the pace on this court. A lot of leaders for the Redbirds, upperclassmen, huge factors, but Paris Lee is definitely the force, especially on the offensive side.
Here's Fletcher back in out of the timeout. Vincent inside, too strong by Fletcher, and Clayton snares the rebound for the Redbirds.
Fletcher rushed that shot just a bit, had a chance to maybe spin around and take a squared up jump shot, and looked like he was a little bit off balance, and that was what you were wondering would be the effect of missing 3 games.
Fain with the miss. Teak Bull gets the rebound, and Fain will pick up the foul. That's a second already, Dan, at the 10:51 mark. So decision time here for Dan Muller, and he's going to take out Phil Fain.
Well, you can see the frustration by Fain there as he recognized it was just a bad error on his part. You like to see the extra effort, but it has to be smart effort, especially going after those rebounds when they touch 2 or 3 different hands.
On the drive, Fletcher can't get it to drop, and he'll go to the free throw line. Nice little no-look pass there by Sean O'Brien.
Excellent backdoor cut by Fletcher. You can see the athleticism, and a lot of eyes are watching that young man. Hasn't had much practice since the foot injury, and seems to be moving around relatively smoothly in this game so far.
Them both. Sean Lloyd will check in for Leo Vincent.
Lloyd, just a sophomore, great presence down low, very physical as well, a downhill player. Averaged 10 points a game. We talked about picking up the slack, and he's really done a nice job in that role, especially in these last 3 games.
Hawkins on Bowl. Hawkins. That's the one thing Barry told me, Barry Hinson, the head coach at Southern Illinois, is the fact that when you got guys like McIntosh and Hawkins, you can put them inside, you can even roll them outside because they can hit those jumpers. They're really kind of a nightmare when you're trying to plan against these guys defensively.
Absolutely. I watched Hawkins in a game earlier this season get a rebound and didn't call glass there, but he got the bucket Excellent job by O'Brien. Not really a big-time outside threat, but knocks down the three there.
You didn't hear him call board? Late on the drive for Illinois State. It was planned perfectly. Lloyd back the other way quickly, and a foul is called.
I'm sure O'Brien would tell you he meant to do that. That's what shooters do. And as you see Coach Hinson there. A lot of energy. Emotional coach. We gotta love Coach Barry Hinson, what he brings to the table and how his influence has affected these young men.
So much passion from Barry Hinson. And already year number 5 in Carbondale. What a job he has done in bringing this Saluki basketball program back up to respectability once again, and bringing the fans back here to SIU Arena. You know, we were talking even before the game with some folks that, you know, back in the day, in the early 2000s, I mean, this was one of the more tougher places to go into. Any arena in college basketball was so tough to come out with a W here at SIU Arena with all the great teams under head coach Matt Painter, Chris Lowry, Bruce Weber. Some unbelievable ball clubs back in the day here in Carbondale. Wow, Inja. Missed. O'Brien collects the rebound.
A little out of sorts there. Good ball fake by O'Brien. Open shot.
Lloyd couldn't get it to drop. Injai pulls down the rebound. Redbirds down 20-13, under 9 left in our first half of the Valley on ESPN3. Dana Hughes, Scott Warman with you from SIU Arena in Carbondale, Illinois. Wills wide open for 3. Really, for Wills, it's been one of those sort of seasons in his senior year in Bloomington. Normally really hasn't gotten off to the best of starts. He wound up with a sports hernia injury right around September, missed the exhibition game, and boy, he gets in his rhythm. That's just another feather in the back of Dan Muller's squad.
Teak Bowl takes a jump shot there. We talked about the shortcoming in his game is probably on the offensive side, creating his own shot. We get another offensive foul called by the Redbirds, second in this first half. Moving screen.
That's the 6th team foul already on ISU, and we're at the 8-10 mark of this opening half of play.
You can see the frustration by Coach Dan Muller. That's just focus right there.
Rudy Stradniks, the sophomore from Latvia, checks in for Teak Bowl.
We haven't seen Mike Rodriguez get going yet in this game. The offensive side has been great, a great creator, one of the leaders on the court for the Salukis, and has an outstanding ability to get to the rack and create on the offensive side.
Good hustle by Stradniks, but falls into the hands of Deontay Hawkins. Redbirds. Nice pass by Lee, and Injai can't finish, but he'll go to the line when we come back from the break. 7:31 left in the first half here from Carbondale. Sean O'Brien has 9. 3 of the 9 here coming off the board. Salukis up by 4. Back at SIU Arena, it's the Valley on ESPN3. 150th meeting between Southern and Illinois State, and the Dogs have the 4-point lead. Time now for tonight's Eagle Bank MVC Scholar Athlete of the Game. It is Illinois State's cross-country runner, Ariel Mahalik, senior from Aurora, Illinois. Mahalik finished second at the 2016 MVC Cross Country Championships in Cedar Falls, Iowa. 2-time All-Conference choice. Mahalik has a 3.39 CUNY GPA in Recreation and Park Administration. The official bank of the Missouri Valley Conference is Eagle Bank, where a student's financial future begins. Dana Hughes, Scott Warman with you. Valley on ESPN3. Southern with the 4-point lead, and out of the timeout here, David Njai, you'll see, heading to the line to shoot a pair of free throws to try to cut into this 4-point deficit.
Well, he hasn't really been able to finish around the rack. He has obviously get to the line right here for 2 shots, but this young man sustained a stress fracture earlier this season, is really just bouncing back, was out until the trip to Hawaii, but considered a rim protector for the Redbirds and can be a force right around that basket as well. He's had 5 blocks in a game this season. You see early in the lane was the Salukis, and Njai will get another opportunity. We've seen a few plays so far in this game where the lack of focus has been at the forefront by both teams.
And this time, Mikal McIntosh will pick up a foul. Dan Muller was not a fan of the call. That's the 7th team foul on the Redbirds. As you mentioned, Njai finally getting into the lineup in the Diamond Head Classic in Hawaii. I talked to Dan last week before the Illinois State-Missouri State game, and Danny was telling me what a great opportunity it is for those young men to go out and see some of the history in, obviously a beautiful country in Hawaii, but they did get a little bit of time in between basketball to see some of the historic parts of Honolulu, Hawaii.
Oh, great area of the country, and definitely a destination most would want to go to. A little bit long of a flight, but I'm sure it was worth it for a lot of these young men.
That's where you're retiring, right?
I don't think I can get my wife to get away from the grandkids that far, although I'm sure they'd love to come visit us. And another turnover by the Redbirds. Not as sharp offensively as we've seen in this season so far for the Redbirds. Have to tune things up offensively. Self-inflicted wounds have cost them.
Yeah, that's the 8th turnover already in this first half for ISU. Fletcher off the mark. McIntosh pulls down the rebound.
Quiet first half so far by Mikal McIntosh. Trying to create something there, and great defense by the Salukis.
Lee, who's one of the top 3-point shooters in the Valley, has yet to knock one down. That last touch by Southern, so ISU will get a fresh 30 on the shot clock.
We'll talk about the 3-point exploits by Lee. Comes into the game 47% from 3-pointer. We see a knockdown shot there by McIntosh.
And right there, I don't think there's anything Sean O'Brien can do defensively to stop something like that. That's just wicked. Here's Fletcher, 10 on the shot clock. Stolen by Lee. And it's down to a 1-point lead for Southern Illinois at 22-21. That is why Paris Lee is the best point guard in the Missouri Valley Conference.
Outstanding instincts. You can see quick as a cat, gets down court. Mike Rodriguez tries to knock it out of the basket. Obviously, that's not going to fly. And how about that effort and quickness? So impressive by the senior point guard.
Southern program this season.
Absolutely. What he's able to do offensively, if he's able to knock down those type of shots, Scotty, it's a huge, huge plus for the Salukis. They expect him just to be around the basket, be a deterrence defensively, and a cleanup man offensively as another foul is called on the Salukis.
How did Jake Lee miss that?
Yeah. The struggle right around the basket. They've had opportunities, multiple opportunities at easy buckets. He gets the benefit of the call right there. Nice look by McIntosh. Got to be able to finish that.
Only 43% from the free throw line this season, Dana.
It is a smart foul to get that young man on the line there, junior from Oakland.
Wiley will check back in for Barry Hinson's squad. 5:21 remaining in our opening half.
Well, we talked about some of the keys for each of these teams, and the Salukis have to make perimeter shots. And thought coming into this game they would not really have many opportunities inside the paint and on the boards because of the length of the Redbirds, but they really fared well down low.
Redbirds go to a zone. They used this last week in their comeback against Missouri State and the eventual victory against the Bears at Redbird Arena.
You can see their athleticism and length there. Difficult shot, exactly what they want to get from the Salukis.
Yeah, Fletcher was called for the foul there as he fouls Paris Lee. And the Redbirds now on this possession have a chance to have our first tie of the game or their first lead of the game. We're at 24-22.
Considering some of the sloppy play that's gone on in this first half, Scotty, I'm sure they would relish this opportunity to cut this lead down and get it back to even. You have to appreciate the change on defense as well, mixing it up. Mainly they are a man-to-man team.
Hawkins inside, can't tie it, rebound, Fletcher. Wiley almost lost the handle. Well, the thought process heading into this game is the fact that coming up for Illinois State Saturday at Redbird Arena against Wichita State. Battle for potentially first place in the Valley, and that goes off McIntosh's foot back the other way to Southern Illinois with a fresh 30 on the shot clock. So the question is, could the Birds potentially be overlooking their in-state rivals and looking forward to Saturday? That's some of the thought process of some of the folks out there heading into tonight's game between these two teams.
And it is easy, even though both of these teams, you're looking at the Redbirds 4-0 in the Valley Conference and the Salukis right behind them at 3-1, and it is easy to do to overlook a team knowing that you have a big matchup coming up.
Stolen by Clayton, and we are tied. Clayton with the steal and the finish. We're tied at 24.
Haven't said much about Keyshawn Evans. Outstanding part of the success of this team, a backup at that point guard position, but you can see in the game with Paris Lee. There's Armand Fletcher.
Second triple by Armand Fletcher. Hawkins tries to answer with an air ball, and Fletcher with the rebound. Huge three by Armand Fletcher.
Deep behind the arc. Just loosens up that defense, and what do you know? The next time down the court, working it down low, trying to take advantage of it, and a miscue by O'Brien. Redbirds defense, how about that?
They are stingy, man. 9th in the nation in field goal percentage defense. Rodriguez trying to return the favor. And an over and back ball here on Illinois State. Salukis basketball when we come back. 2 minutes, 50 seconds remaining in our opening half. DJ Clayton with the steal and the finish tied it there, but right now, Dogs lead it by 3. Mike McElroy, who was a safety for Southern Illinois, actually did it at the old football stadium here, and he carried forward, and it is raised, look at that, over $200,000 to help Southern Illinois cancer patients. And again, it's football, men's basketball, and women's basketball that are part of these blackout events.
It's amazing how one small effort has blossomed into that type of effort all across the Saluki faithful, and to raise that type of money for a great cause is amazing. That it all started on the football field with one young man.
Dan Muller, still talking to the officials on that over and back call. It got us to the under 4 timeout. None too pleased with the call. Nonetheless, another turnover. That's 9 in the opening half for Illinois State.
And I think he has a valid argument there. The ball was behind the court, on the back court actually, and caused by the defense. A nice move there by Fletcher using the left hand for the bucket.
Did you say he was injured before the foot injury?
I think he's been playing coy. He's been setting up this moment. Who says basketball players can't be good actors?
Holy smokes. Now a zone by Barry Hinson squad out of the timeout. Lee drains his first triple.
That will definitely loosen up a zone defense as Paris Lee gets going. Hasn't been on the mark yet, but is able to knock down that deep three. Such a quick release as well from that left side.
Shot clock winding down here. O'Brien trying to get a higher percentage shot with the left hand. Nice job there by Sean O'Brien.
Created just enough contact, switched to the left hand in the air. Nice athletic move by O'Brien, and leading the Salukis with 11 points so far in this game.
Here's Clayton. Back and forth we go with just over a minute remaining in the first half. Folks, one quick reminder, stay tuned for our halftime report. It is a presentation of State Farm. They assist you when things go wrong, but also here to help life go right. Team up with an agent today at 800 State Farm. Danon will meet up with both Barry Hinson and Dan Muller. We'll have our Etna player profile with Leo Vincent, and we'll also give you some highlights and stats. That's all coming up on our State Farm halftime report here at SIU Arena. 66 seconds remaining in the first half of play, and it's a 31-29 lead for Southern Illinois. The Salukis at 3-1 in conference play in third place, behind the tie for first place between Illinois State and Wichita State. Again, the Shockers in action tonight in Chicago against the Loyola Ramblers. In fact, a full slate of 5 games, all 10 teams in action in the Valley on this Wednesday night. We'll get you up to date on those scores as we move along in tonight's broadcast. Rodriguez looking for his first points of the opening half. Nice pass inside. Stradniks with the finish. Mike Rodriguez scoring and assist as a high percentage of the points that are scored via field goals for Southern Illinois. No surprise. Hawkins from the outside, and the rebound taken by Armand Fletcher. Shot clock is off. Southern will have the final possession more than likely of this opening half and try to add to their 4-point lead at 33-29. And the faithful here in Carbondale like what they see against their in-state rivals, the Illinois State Redbirds, here tonight in the 150th meeting between these two teams. Fletcher, with way too much time left, misses. Harris Lee. McIntosh. No. And we go to the locker room. Illinois State and Southern Illinois, with the Salukis having the 4-point lead at 33-29. All right, let's check in with head coach Barry Hinson of Southern Illinois for tonight's KC's General Store plans for the second half with our own Danon Hughes. Danon?
Your stars back on the court. It looks like he hasn't missed a beat. Tell me a little bit about Armand Fletcher and what he's been able to bring to the table in this first half.
Well, he hadn't missed a beat offensively, but he's missed a lot of beats defensively. But I appreciate your praise. Yeah, it's great to have him back because he's a magnet. You got to guard him, and you see the confidence we have in him running the shot there for him at the end. But a lot of basketball to be played. God, Dan and them are doing such a good job. But I tell you what, I'm proud of our kids. We're fighting our butts off. If we just wouldn't turn it over, We think there's a tax credit or something for our turnovers, but we got to get out of that mode.
Well, Coach, due to the length of the Redbirds, you didn't really think coming into this game that you would have as much a presence down low, but your guys have really been scrapping down there, getting some nice buckets in the paint.
That's our biggest deal is we got to attack from inside outside. And you know, the days have changed. There are not a lot of guys like me out there playing anymore. There's guys that have a little bit more lead than me.
Well, great job, Coach. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
All right, Coach, Dana, thanks so much. We'll leave it to Barry. Our chat with the coaches this season is brought to you by Casey's General Store. Casey's, famous for pizza. It's a blackout for cancer game for Southern Illinois, and they're trying to hand their in-state rivals, the Illinois State Redbirds, their first conference loss of the season. Dan Muller and the Birds trailed the Dogs 33-29 at the half. Our State Farm halftime report is headed your way next. It's The Valley on ESPN3. Back at SIU Arena in Carbondale, Valley on ESPN3. Our halftime report is a presentation of State Farm. Let's take a look at our first half stats. It's a production of Purina Dog Chow, always crafted in the USA since 1926. How about that? Identical field goal percentages at 52 apiece for both of these in-state rivals, but how about the three-point shooting for Illinois State? Only 25% beyond the arc for Dan Muller's squad in the opening half. There you see ISU has the advantage on the rebounds. Steals are identical, and there's the turnovers. Illinois State turning the ball over. Unusual 9 times turnovers by Illinois State, especially when you think of Paris Lee, the top point guard in the Missouri Valley Conference, running the charge there. It's unusual to see already 9 first half turnovers for Illinois State. All right, let's check in with Dana Hughes. He is with the head coach at Illinois State, Dan Muller, for his plans for the second half. It's brought to you by Casey's General Store. Dana?
A bit slow, a little bit sluggish early, but you were able to kind of get things going and get this game back into focus. Tell me a little bit about the adjustments you guys made on the run in the first half.
Well, they outcompeted us to start the game, starting with O'Brien. I thought they were more physical. We've got 9 turnovers a half. We average about 11 or 12. We played a little harder through that stretch, finally got some stops, but I think they outcompeted us that whole half.
Well, you talk about those 9 turnovers. What adjustments do you have to make in the second half to be a little bit more clean and successful?
We're just trying to make some plays we shouldn't make. We're being careless with the ball. Their physicality's bothered us. We just got to play tougher.
Well, good luck the second half, Coach.
Danny Danon, thanks so much. And our chat with the coaches this season is brought to you by Casey's General Store. Casey's, famous for pizza. Redbirds trail it by 4 at the half. Second half of the Valley on ESPN3. Headed your way next from SIU. The ball here at SIU Arena. Dana Hughes, Scott Warman with you. Salukis trying to upend their in-state rivals, the Illinois State Redbirds. As you see the Illinois State Redbirds and Salukis matching up for the first time. Dan Muller talking it over before we start this second half as his Redbirds trail it by a score of 33-29. And Dana, as we mentioned, really uncharted territories for Danny's squad because only 2 other times besides tonight have they faced a deficit starting out a second half this year.
Well, obviously, by his words, you can tell the reason why they are in this deficit, Scott, is because of the lack of focus and the errors that they made in that first half. The 9 turnovers contributed to the success of the Salukis, and you still have to give a lot of credit to Barry Hinson and the Salukis because they came out playing hard. Armand Fletcher back in the mix and doesn't seem to have missed a beat, and getting that offensive production from Sean O'Brien has all been a huge factor as well.
And Aetna, the official presenting sponsor of the Valley on ESPN3, proudly brings you the second half of our NBC Game of the Week from Carbondale. Illinois State undefeated in Valley play at 4-0, tied atop the Valley standings with Wichita State, and right behind them, Barry Hinson's Salukis of Southern Illinois at 3-1. 150th meeting between these two teams, and the Dogs come out with a victory and tie themselves with Illinois State after tonight as we get set for the second 20 minutes of play here in C-Dale.
Well, we spoke so much about Fletcher and O'Brien. Haven't really heard much from that man right there, trying to get things going for himself. 0 for 3 from the field in this game. Mike Rodriguez frustrated so far. With some credit to Paris Lee not allowing him to get comfortable offensively.
Nice entry by Lee into McIntosh in the first foul of the second half of play. You know, we saw Southern Illinois there take that shot with just 2 seconds remaining on the shot clock. How many times did we see in the first half where we saw Southern Illinois on their offensive sets drain that shot clock down to single digits before they took a shot? Several times.
Well, several times. And what they're trying to do is to slow things up for the Redbirds, maybe get them out of position and frustrate them by taking up the ball much of that shot clock. And they've gotten multiple easy buckets, even though they've allowed that clock to get down. And you have to give credit to them. They recognize the athleticism of this Redbirds team, and their game plan is to milk that shot clock and get smart shots with it. So far, they have fared very well.
McIntosh drains the 2 free throws. He now has 7 on the night. Lloyd stripped away by guess who? Paris Lee. Now Fain has to call a timeout, or he was going to get that 5-second call. But how about the stout defense of Illinois State?
The hands, the speed of the hands of Paris Lee is outstanding. Has such a knack to knock the ball away when the big men get the ball down low, and it works well for the Redbirds.
Back at SIU Arena, it is the Valley on ESPN3. Salukis and Illinois State just underway. Second half action here from Carbondale. Folks, the NBC Fan Hangout is the perfect gathering place before and after during Arch Madness. It's located at Ballpark Village in downtown St. Louis, just across the street from Busch Stadium. For additional information, visit archmadness.com/fans. We mentioned Illinois State at 4-0, tied with the Wichita State Shockers in conference standings heading into this week's action and tonight's action. And Illinois State needs some work to do here, trailing on the road. They have yet to have a lead in tonight's game. Wichita State on the road in Loyola, and they come out of victor in Chicago tonight by a score of 87-75. We'll give you all the scores coming up later on in the broadcast here. So Illinois State looking for a road win, a tough road win to try to keep pace with those Shockers, and that's on their to-do list next after tonight's game. Shot block, Teak Bowl.
That's why that young man is on the court. Good move down low by McIntosh, but the help defense negates that shot. Teak Bowl, such a presence around the rim.
Go, Dana. Shot clock down to single digits once again.
High screen wanted by O'Brien as gets fouled on the three-point attempt. Let's see. Phil Fain disagrees with that call. I believe he got him right on the forearm, Scotty, and well-deserved 3 shots from the line for O'Brien.
And that is the 3rd foul now on Fain. Remember, he sat through the better part of that first half as he picked up 2 quick fouls in the opening 20 minutes of play. Sean O'Brien, as we mentioned, a perfect 5 for 5 from the field in the opening half. He finished with 11 points, leading the way for Southern Illinois.
We talked about earlier O'Brien being more of a facilitator, but he has had a game. Indiana State earlier this season, 21 shots in that game, had 28 points. Not sure if he's going to get to that mark today, but he's really done a fine job offensively.
Yeah, that was a career high in the overtime victory against the Trees last Wednesday. Looks like Armand Fletcher picks up the foul. That'll be his second.
A lot of questions answered about Fletcher so far in this game. At the half, he had played second most minutes of the first half with 17 minutes and really did a nice job. And you wondered the durability factor, and just although you can practice a lot, you don't know what kind of game shape you're in when you miss 3 games.
Wow, nice ball rotation, and that'll be 2 on the goaltending call. Tony Wills would get the 2.
Excellent ball movement. Wills right there along the baseline. Teague Bowl gets up there a little bit late. Goaltending, pretty obvious right there. Salukis have been looking for that high screen, try to get things going. And again, the Redbirds very stout as O'Brien is trying to take it himself. A nice move with his left and just could not get it to drop.
Wills, reverse, no. And here comes O'Brien, and the Salukis up by 2. Fletcher, nice pass. Bull, right into the hands of Paris Lee.
A little too many passes down there. I think one of those shots should have been taken.
Boy, an early shot on that possession by Dan Buller's squad. I don't know if Danny actually wanted to see Tony take a shot from there as they had an opportunity to tie or take the lead. Nonetheless, Southern with the basketball in the 2-point lead. 16 and a half remaining in our second half. And a foul on Illinois State. Again, the shot clock down to 6 seconds before Rodriguez making that move to the hole.
Well, Rodriguez recognized the switch on defense, had McIntosh on him, thought he could take him to the hole, and got the benefit of the doubt there with the foul call. But again, one of the better guards in the country at drawing fouls and getting to the free throw line, and just hasn't really been able to do much offensively otherwise this evening.
And we're going to go back the other way. Third personal foul is called on, looks like it's going to be on Fletcher.
Yeah. Illegal screen called. That's the third of the game. First for the Salukis as Fletcher rotates out of the game there. And that call was opposed vehemently by Coach Barry Henson to no avail.
Wills inside. Stratniks blocks the miss on that shot just short by Tony.
It's the third consecutive time down the court. Wills has taken the shot and hasn't been able to get it to drop.
O'Brien on McIntosh. And McIntosh doing a nice job defensively against Sean.
Good strong rebound.
Not making things easy for Sean O'Brien to get some shots off. Lee gives the Redbirds the first lead of the night at the 15:30 mark with his second triple of tonight's contest.
Such a quick release and plays with such high tempo and energy, and able to knock down those type of shots. With such confidence as well, Slider.
O'Brien with the left hand. And last touch by Stratniks. Redbirds basketball when we come back. Paris Lee, the senior leader for the Redbirds, hits a triple, and for the first time tonight, Birds lead the Dogs 36-35. Danny Hughes, Scott Warman with you. Paris Lee has just drained a 3 to give Illinois State their first lead of tonight's contest at 36-35 with 15:06 remaining in our second half of play. Dan Muller's team is off to a 4-0 start. They have won 5 straight, and there you see the top 6 MVC starts in school history for Illinois State. Again, currently at 4-0 and a 5-0 start back in 83-84, but you have to go back to 2007-2008 when that team wound up going 13-5 when they started the season at 6-0, finished second in the Valley, and wound up playing in the NIT. That was before Dan Muller had taken over as the head coach in Bloomington Normal.
Well, this is the year for the Redbirds. They feel like they have veteran leadership. They have several guys that have been a part of this program. basically since Dan Muller has gotten here, and now you're seeing the fruits of all of that labor come to fruition on the basketball court. Great leadership, athleticism. They really believe they can match up with anyone in the Missouri Valley Conference, and they've done a fine job so far. Seem to be getting things going offensively in this second half. Salukie's only scoring 2 points in just over 5 minutes in this first half, in the second half.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Dana. In Southern Illinois with 3 turnovers in the opening 4+ minutes of this second 20 minutes of play here at SIU Arena. McIntosh with 3 on the shot clock. Njai gets the rebound, kicks it back out with a fresh 30. Paris Lee fires away. That's an air ball off of Clayton. Saluki basketball.
Got a little anxious there. Great work on the board. Smart by Njai to get the ball and kick it back out, not force it up after getting that strong rebound. And again, another turnover by the Redbirds. And we'll see if the Salukis can get things going offensively. Get back on the board, tie this game up. Or I should say go ahead.
Vincent. And they need more of that production off the bench from Leo Vincent. That would be a huge boost as the season continues in the Valley for Barry Hitson's squad, and Clayton answers inside to knot it at 38.
You're exactly right, Scott. You consider Leo Vincent, the senior, has had a lot of success against this Redbirds team. Just last season in January, had 24 points in their matchup. 6 for 7 from 3-point range. So trying to get things back warmed up and be a factor in this game.
Wiley misses on the outside shot. Njai pulls down the rebound. Redbirds with another chance to take another lead. Wills. And the follow by Njai. Well, we're going to give it to DJ Clayton.
Seeing a more concerted effort at crashing the boards by the big men of the Redbirds. Every shot that goes up, and you see a mismatch down below with Paris Lee stuck in the paint, but trying to work. It's always fun to watch the smaller guards when they get that mismatch, Scotty, going against the big men down low. There's a lot of fight. Stradnick's down there, and Paris Lee still battles as he goes out of the game, and Keyshawn Evans comes back in and can be a great spark off the bench. Has been one of the keys to success for the Redbirds all season long.
Here's Rodriguez on Wills. Mike still looking for his first points of the night. Hawkins right there to get the rebound for Illinois State. Again, Rodriguez coming up a game where he had 22 and went 3 for 3 from beyond the arc and went 8 of 9 from the field in the victory in Springfield at JQH against the Bears on Saturday. Just can't find it at home, and Teague Cole will have the goaltending call.
Second of the game by Bowl, and really have to appreciate the abilities we're seeing from the Redbirds attacking the basket. Where we thought they would be most proficient is at the glass, and a nice high arc by Evans. And gets the benefit of the doubt there by Bowl.
Well, you and I discussed this at the outset of the broadcast in the opening minutes. Is these two teams can defend. Well, the Redbirds have amped up their defense here in the second half, and hence right now the 4-point lead. Leo Vincent coming off the bench, hitting a big 3 for Barry Henson's team here in the second half. He has 5 on the evening, but the Birds lead the Dogs 42-38. It's the Valley on ESPN3 from Carbondale tonight. Southern Illinois and Illinois State doing battle with 11:47 left in the second half of our Valley game of the week. Well, Dana, we talked about the amount of players returning to Dan Muller's squad this season as he has 4 seniors. And look at the numbers that Lee, Wills, Hawkins, and company have collected in their incredible careers in Bloomington Normal.
It's been an outstanding couple of years for those young men. They have really assumed the leadership role, not just in stats, but also on the court and in the locker room. And Dan Muller has to really appreciate having those 4 young men. And you can see 4 seniors, or I should say 3 seniors, and 1,761 points amongst those 3 seniors. Phenomenal output.
All right, so on the inbounds, Southern will now have it at half court.
They're resetting the clock because he caught the ball out of bounds.
Right.
So it should not have started. Nice job by the officials.
O'Brien on Hawkins. Nice job to keep it alive. And back the other way for Illinois State. Sean Lloyd did a nice job of keeping that ball alive. Nonetheless, it gets into ISU's hands, and there is a 3 by Evans, his first points in tonight's game. Largest lead of the night for the Birds at 45-38.
Great for that young man's confidence to knock down that open shot.
Folks, the Grand Hall at Union Station in downtown St. Louis comes to life with a spectacular indoor light show every night. For making plans to attend Arch Madness, visit grandhall-stl.com for details.
Seeing some forced up sloppy shots by the Salukis. This nice move by Teak Bowl to the basket. Goes to the line.
As you look on the floor right now for Dan Muller's squad, he's got Wills, Clayton, Evans, Hawkins, Injun. So he's got only 2 of his starters, and that defense is still clamping down on Southern Illinois right now.
Such a stifling defense, and it's all about want to. Everyone can play defense, but not a lot of players want to play defense, especially as hard as what we're seeing from the Redbirds, and that's kind of the identity of this team. It doesn't matter, Scotty, you and I, we're around football, baseball, basketball, hockey. It doesn't matter what sport. You have to have an identity in order to be successful, and all season long, the Redbirds have been about that extra effort, that intense type of defense, and they have the innate ability to not allow some of the shortcomings, or when those shortcomings happen on defense, to affect them on offense or vice versa.
We're nearly the midway mark of this second half, and that was only the 6th point for SIU in the second half of play. Nice rebound by Teak Bowl. Dogs trying to cut into this 6-point deficit at 45-39.
You get the feeling that Mike Rodriguez is waiting just for that one bucket to drop to get things going and get warmed up. As we get the shot from Fletcher, tries to follow up his own shot, not able to get the rebound. Nice effort by Njai. Again, the efforts and energy that we expected from the Redbirds early, because of some miscues, they really couldn't get the tempo on their side. But ever since they came out of halftime, it's all been about the momentum of the Redbirds, and they've really done a fine job taking over in the second half. With 4 seconds left on the shot clock, good defense there by the Salukis.
Rudy Stratnick's checking back in for Southern Illinois. You see Barry Hinson. He knew he had his game on his hands here tonight against a very talented Illinois State team. Evans, can he hit another three? Rebound taken by O'Brien.
Not a bad look, just could not get it to drop. And again, Rodriguez, a lot of bodies inside the paint, not allowing him to get the penetration that he'd like to see. As we get another bank shot from the Salukis. It must be their home court, Scotty, because they're using the glass to their benefit twice in this game.
Nearly 3 minutes without a field goal, and they get that triple. And an offensive foul on Deontay Hawkins.
A lot of moving screens in this game. That's the fourth call, as we see the knockdown shot by Stradniks off the glass. He didn't call it. It should only count for two.
Listen to you. Rodriguez lines it up. Can't tie it. Tied up between Fletcher and McIntyre. They're going to give him a jump ball call. Possession now favors Illinois State, much to the chagrin of the Saluki faithful here at SIU Arena.
I thought this was a good no call. You can see good positioning, and then just as the ball's in the air, Fletcher slides underneath. Yeah, a little bit of WWE right there at the end, but I thought it was a good no call in real time.
Dane and Hughes, Scott Warman with you from SIU Arena. It's the Valley on ESPN3. Illinois State and Southern Illinois. Hawkins with another deuce, 47-42. It's a 5-point lead for the Redbirds. Now, Southern led at the break, 33-29. Nice move inside to Fletcher, who will head to the charity stripe.
Excellent motion by Sean O'Brien. Good, strong cut to the basket. Awareness to see the cut by Fletcher, and just could not finish it there.
Boy, I'll tell you what, Sean O'Brien, I mentioned earlier how we've seen this young man evolve, and really from his sophomore to his junior season and now into his senior year. And
yeah.
He's extended his game, hitting in fact, he's made a three tonight, but can play inside, can play outside, also plays tough defense. But, man, there's been a couple of passes that have been eye-popping from number 33 tonight in black.
Well, he's always been a scorer, but hasn't needed to be a volume scorer, Scotty, because they had Anthony Bean last year scoring over 20 points a game. He just needed to be that other guy on the court to try to get things going when Bean was down or when things weren't dropping for him, and he's assumed that leadership role in great fashion this year in his senior year.
Hawkins at the block, gets the bucket and the foul. Deontay Hawkins.
Excellent move in the paint, good strong presence by Hawkins. We've seen a few big plays inside and outside, and the strength there displayed by big number 23, the senior, 14.8 points a game coming into this contest. And has a knack for doing it on the inside and outside. Such great touch.
And now Njai will check in for Deontay. Hawkins has 3 fouls. So does Fain. So does McIntosh for Illinois State. 3 fouls for Amon Fletcher. Vincent. And that will be the 8th team foul on Illinois State. We'll take a break. 7:59 remaining in this one as the Redbirds have the lead over Southern Illinois by half dozen. Well, Dana Hughes, as all of us know in the Missouri Valley Conference, tragedy hit the Illinois State basketball program in the spring of 2015 during the Final Four time. Torrey Ward and several members from Illinois State fallen. And Torrey Ward was such a huge part of Dan Miller and the success the Illinois State basketball program had at ISU, and still you see the patches of Torrey and the other members on the jerseys of Illinois State, even into the second season without Torrey. And again, thoughts and prayers to Torrey and all of those affected in that tragic, tragic loss to the Illinois State family nearly 2 springs ago. Out of the timeout, Leo Vincent will go to line, and he'll be shooting 1-on-1 as the Salukis are in the penalty situation, as Illinois State has already picked up 8 team fouls. Leo can't get the make, and the travel on the rebound by Njai as he lost his footing.
Proper call there. Njai lands on the floor. It is a turnover again by the Redbirds. And going back to Leo Vincent, we've seen a couple of the guards, Vincent and Rodriguez, really not be able to get things going offensively. Their production has been needed and has been relatively consistent all season long. Leo Vincent started the season off with the green light. They really expected him to be a force offensively, and just has had some up and down games. You can see the same is going this evening, and I'm sure a large part of that is because of the defensive efforts by the Redbirds. Again, with the missed shot by Vincent, and Njai comes down with the rebound. Crowd wanted to walk there, and that was a good job. Body control, another turnover by the Redbirds, and Vincent off.
Oh, and a block by McIntosh. Salukis retain possession with 25 on the shot clock.
See here, just an errant pass, and Vincent trying to go one-on-one. Excellent hustle back by McIntosh, and gets to knock it away out of bounds.
That was the first turnover by Illinois State in the second half after 9 in the first half.
We talked to Coach Dan Muller coming out at halftime, and he's made an emphasis that they were going to clean up that part of the game and recognize how much of a factor it was in the first half that led to that deficit, and they've really done a nice job cleaning things up.
Rodriguez still looking for his first points tonight. There's Mike. Finds Fletcher. No. Here's Lee. Nice pass inside, and Clayton can't finish. Wow.
He's had some struggles down in the paint finishing. Nice passes by Lee and Evans throughout this game.
Stradniks can't make it 2 for 2. Stradniks got a little confidence there. Pulled that jumper up from beyond the arc.
He pulled the trigger earlier, got the benefit of the glass shot, but couldn't make it there.
Hawkins, he'll try a triple. Off the back of the iron. Both teams going cold here in the last minute plus. Here's O'Brien on McIntosh. This has been quite a matchup all night long. With the left hand, too strong. And Fletcher just picked up his 4th foul. Hey folks, we're going to be back here in Carbondale on Friday. Why don't you join us as we bring you women's basketball action. It's the Valley on ESPN3 as the Southern Illinois Salukis women's program under Sidney Stein will take on the Wichita State Shockers, and we will have the coverage beginning at 6 p.m. That's Southern Illinois women taking on Wichita State at 6 p.m., and we'll have the Valley Batmobile with its skates on to make our way down here.
We may need it.
And a foul inside call on Southern. It looks like it's going to be on Sean O'Brien. That is number 2 on Sean. 16 foul on the Salukis. 5:38 remaining in this second half of play. Southern Illinois calls a 30-second timeout. Interesting timeout taken here by Barry Hinson.
Yes, it is. You have to consider there's been a battle coming into this matchup, Scotty. The one place, or one of the main places I was watching was anticipating to see how Sean O'Brien was going to match up with Mikhail McIntosh. So far, he's done an admirable job. McIntosh really hasn't been a huge factor offensively, only 7 points in the game. One of the leaders offensively for the Redbirds. And conversely, Sean O'Brien's really done a nice job with 13 in this game, but two guys, similar body styles, really banging in the paint, trying to create some shots, and it's been a nice battle so far.
So we played 14 minutes and 22 seconds in the second half of play, and again, can't stress it enough about Illinois State having one of the best defenses in the country. Southern Illinois has only scored 11 points, and how about Fain and Lee hooking up there? Largest lead of the night for the Redbirds at 52-44. But again, Southern with only 11 points in the second half.
That's the athleticism we were anticipating is an outstanding move to get on the board by Mike Rodriguez, his first 2 points of the game. The spark plug for the Salukis.
That could get Southern going offensively. They need something, down by 6. McIntosh on O'Brien. Gets a little bit of space, too strong. Offensive rebound by Fain. And with the shot clock running out, didn't get the shot off in time. It's a shot clock violation on ISU.
Dan Muller was in the ear of the officials, I believe trying to call a timeout there, and could not get it done. But you love the effort by Fain. Just did not know where the shot clock was and was not able to capitalize.
Fain checks back out. He has 3 fouls. And again, Hawkins not in. He's playing with 3 fouls when in the game, and so is Mikhail McIntosh. Rodriguez again on the drive. Nice dish to Lloyd. Can't get the finish. Nice ball rotation here by ISU. Wills for 3. Teep Bowl gets the miss. Sean O'Brien and the Salukis down by a half dozen.
Almost a turnover there by O'Brien. Lost control of the ball.
O'Brien just inside the arc. Handling Brown. That's a beautiful shooter's touch by Sean O'Brien.
Watch that young man shoot around earlier, take about 50 shots from that range. Not going to be a three-point shooter, but really does a nice job inside 17 feet.
Hawkins steps inside. Leo Vincent's right there with the loose change.
Nice pump fake there by Hawkins. Thought he had an opportunity to dish that ball down low to Clayton. Took the errant shot.
Off of Teep Bull's shoes and out of bounds. Illinois State basketball, when we come back, can they hold on to their 4-point lead? RTN News, let's take a look at our Players of the Game presentation of Aetna. Aetna invests in game-changing programs that make being healthy simpler and more convenient than ever. Get to know us at Aetna.com. Deontay Hawkins for ISU.
Deontay Hopkins has been a force offensively, both inside and out. And Sean O'Brien on the other end of the floor, really being a huge force with 15 points on the game. Knocking down that last jump shot from the top of the key to bring the Salukis within 4.
And there you see our Aetna players of tonight's game. 3:10 remaining. Redbirds up 52-48 as they're trying to go to 5-0 on the season. As Wichita State, we alluded to earlier, they defeated Loyola in Chicago. Meanwhile, Evansville next on the docket for Southern Illinois as they will travel to Southwest Indiana. And right now, Evansville is getting drilled by Drake.
We've talked so much about core four for the Redbirds, Scotty, and normally a large portion of the scoring goes by way of those four young men. And what we're seeing this evening is a little bit more of other guys stepping up, and one man is Evans, Keyshawn Evans, coming through with another three. 8 points on the evening. Picking up for the slack for some of what we're not seeing from McIntosh.
And Lloyd can't answer. McIntosh pulls down the rebound. You mentioned it, the Big Four lead. McIntosh, Wills, Hawkins on the floor, and who gets the ball out of the timeout? The sophomore Evans, and he drains that triple. 55-48. Birds trying to add to their 7-point lead as they try to go to 5-0 on the Valley season.
A little bit more patience displayed by the Redbirds, trying to find a good shot.
Wills for three. And there's Vincent with the miss.
Wills hasn't been able to get things going either for the Redbirds.
And a foul on McIntosh. That's number 4. As Sean O'Brien will go to the line as the Redbirds are in the penalty situation with 9 team fouls.
Nice job going right at McIntosh, recognizing he has the 3 fouls. Sean O'Brien has not shied away from going to the bucket and taking it strong at McIntosh. Draws the 4th foul there. You see his numbers on the season. Even with that shooter's touch, just 54% from the free throw line. It's amazing to me when you watch guys' ability to knock down 15, 17-foot jump shots, but get on that free throw line in a set position, they just lose it.
3 points. Hawkins at the block.
Nice quick move by Hawkins.
And especially when you're down like that, you need those baskets at the free throw line because you're scoring when the clock is stopped.
It's called free throws.
Yep. Rodriguez will go to the foul line with 1:18 remaining. Keyshawn Evans picks up the foul. That's number 2 on him. And again, McIntosh out there with 4. 3 on Deontay Hawkins.
How about the resilience by Mike Rodriguez? 1 for 6 prior to that shot, and hasn't shied away from a shot. Recognizes his abilities and just also acknowledging it may not be his night. The ball's just not dropping, but he's not shying away from open shots or attacking the rim or attacking the basket.
Timeout. 30-second timeout taken by Barry Henson as his team trails it by 7 with 1:18 remaining. Now you have to pick up the defensive intensity and try to pick up a turnover. Again, 9 turnovers in the first half for Illinois State and only 1 in this second half. We mentioned next up for Illinois State, a big one at Redbird Arena as they'll be hosting Greg Marshall's Wichita State Shockers. Then they have a road game. It's the I-74 series against Bradley, and then they'll take on Drake, who has been quite a surprise early on in this Valley season.
We saw the standings earlier, and it's such a log jam in the middle, just like we see in football, you see in basketball, all throughout Missouri Valley sports. Such great competition as you see the upcoming schedule for the Salukis going on the road.
Yeah, the Dogs hitting the road, going to Evansville, as we mentioned, on Saturday, the next week at Drake, and then hosting Northern Iowa as Ben Jacobson's squad, a surprising 0-4 to start Valley play, and they're on the road tonight in Peoria, taking on the Bradley Braves. And a foul is called on Lloyd. It looks like Evans might have gotten a shot right around the eye area.
As you can see right here, foot, the kick by Sean O'Brien, and it's a nice job by Evans. Wasn't going to get the call at half court, was still able to keep his faculties and draw the foul and take about 8 seconds off the clock there, and we'll shoot 2. Or 1 and 1, I should say.
Dan Muller's squad this season is shooting 66% from the free throw line. And for Evans, that is just his 3rd free throw attempt this season.
That's such great touch. And one of the big assets for Dan Muller and his Redbirds team is because they're so athletic throughout their roster. They can interchange guys in these type of moments, trying to keep a lead under 90 seconds left in this game and not miss a beat, because all of their guys are athletic, can handle the ball extremely well in the open court, protect the ball, very smart because of the veterans that are on this roster.
All right, 8-point deficit for Southern at 58-50 as we hit a minute remaining. Vincent from downtown off the mark, and Paris Lee among the Giants clears it out, gets the rebound. And he'll go to the line as Rodriguez picks up the foul with 50.6 seconds remaining.
17 points scored in the second half by the Salukis. They've gone extremely cold from the perimeter. What we thought would be the key to success, and speaking with the Redbirds throughout the week, is forcing them to score on the perimeter, recognizing their strength was inside with their length. And the second half has been drastically different from the first half.
Well, they have just clamped down defensively, as you're alluding to there, Danon, and they have done it for quite a while. In fact, you look at some of the great players that they have gone up against here in the last week or so. Last Wednesday, it was Y.J. Johnson of Missouri State. He was held down, especially in the second half of that game. And you go up and down the rosters of some of these teams that they played here, especially in the last 5-6 games. And the leading scorers for the opponents against this Illinois State Redbird team have really been held to not many points at all. And that's a credit to what Dan Muller, he teaches what he preaches and what he played. That was the way that Dan Muller played when he was the great basketball star for Illinois State back in the late 90s. And now he's pressing this on to his team here at Illinois State this season. This is a huge opportunity for the Redbirds to maybe come away with a Missouri Valley Conference regular season championship this year, and I think they feel it. They've got a great attitude. I know Dan told me last week he loved the attitude of his basketball team this season. Too strong by Rodriguez. McIntosh will pick up the miss, and now Paris Lee and company will try to wind this one down and pick up their 6th straight win and go to 5-0 in Valley play to start things off for the first time since 2008 with an impressive road win here tonight against Southern Illinois, as the Salukis' 3-game winning streak will come to a close here at SIU Arena.
Tried to clear it out for McIntosh there, and
Rodriguez will go to the line with 7.5 seconds remaining. So Dan Muller's squad will go to 13-4 on the season.
And you see him yelling at his team and encourage him just to finish and be smart. Not a smart foul there. Allow the clock to just run out. A nice take by Rodriguez. Every great team has a turning point, Scotty, and the Tulsa game when they lost by 2 points. They were up by 14 in that game, and after that game they had a meeting and decided what type of team they wanted to be, intense on defense, and it's really worked out extremely well for the Redbirds.
Well, tonight, for only the 3rd time this season, they trailed at the half, but Dan Muller and the Illinois State Redbirds come away with a 60-53 win over Southern Illinois and go to 5-0 in conference play and 13-4 overall, while the Salukis have their 3-game winning streak broken. They're now 3-2 in conference play and 10-8 overall for Barry Hinson's squad. So Dan Muller's team heads back to Bloomington Normal tonight with a 60-53 win over Southern Illinois. And another reminder, another Valley on ESPN3 broadcast comes your way on Friday here in Carbondale. We'll have the women for you as Southern Illinois will take on the Wichita State Shockers. For Dana and Hughes and our entire crew, I'm Scott Warman. Thanks so much for joining us here in Carbondale. Again, the final score, Illinois State over Southern Illinois, 60-53. And good night from Carbondale.